How would you feel if you heard, wafting into your ear or mind, the most beautiful, unusual, unlikely music you had ever encountered? Music so beguiling, you just knew it wasn't of this world. And what if, contained within this mysterious music, was an implicit offer for unending, infinite artistic inspiration? Would you be wary and worried, or would you say yes? Hello, I'm Diane, otherwise known in some circles as Crow Bard. Croquet dance and dansely, and I am a bard of the fairies. That's right, I'm on staff, pun intended, as a musician for the good people. Now, I did not go out looking for this job, but when that mysterious, enchanting, potentially dangerous offer came galloping into my life on a song, I did say yes. But why did I say yes? It's complicated. I hear the shadowy horses, their long manes a-shake, their hooves heavy with tumult, their eyes glimmering white. I am a singer-songwriter, recording artist in a duo known as Neptune's Keep. The other half of my band is my multi-talented musical husband, Stu. Stu and I live on a lovely 6-acre property in rural Wisconsin. I manage this land as a wildlife sanctuary. Stu and I have a deep, abiding love for nature, and this land has always been my muse. Here I've become a Dr. Dolittle of sorts. I study avian vocalizations, and I have learned to speak with several species of our birds in their own languages. This ability has gained me entry into the inner circle of our local crow family, the piano pats, I call them. Piano and Patty have raised several generations now of their children in the tall pines at the back of our prairie. These crows accept me completely as a member of their clan. Well, I'm the slightly eccentric aunt who can't fly, but they're tolerant of my shortcomings. The crows have even given me my own name in their language. And we look out for each other. There is a true love between us. And that, I suspect, is one of the things that got the attention of the good people. But there's more to it than that. About 5 years ago, I embarked on a druidic spiritual path. Today, I am an ovate grade druid with the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, based in the UK. I'm also a loving member and elder of Northern Roots Grove, a local independent druid group. Once upon a simpler time, I had a friend, and he wrapped me in tender leafy arms when I was small. We Druids are known as the Stonehenge people, the tree huggers, if you like. Many of us, but by no means all, identify as pagan, and we practice a nature-based spirituality. As part of our path, we learn to become aware of otherworld, of its deities and the other beings who dwell there, and that includes the good neighbors. This, in turn, I believe, made them aware of me. We are the shadowlings, we are the dark, the form you cannot see. Now, I was aware of the mercurial nature of the other crowd, and like any sensible human being, for years I kept them at arm's length. I was even a bit worried they might be angry with me, because in one of my career manifestations, and I've had many, I performed as a Victorian-era fairy, with Stu as an elf. And I had wings and the whole shebang. Now, it was for a good cause. We were doing musical nature education programs for children in our local library and other venues. But that stereotypical portrayal of fairies does not endear one to the good people. Fairy fae, fairy fae, what a beautiful world. So I did not seek them out. I tried to fly under their radar, so to speak, and I was content to make music inspired by my crows and other birds, my trees, and my druidic relationship to the land. And willows sway, dewdrop diamonds shine in the sun among the fairy fae. Then everything changed. In early November of 2018, my local Druid Grove went on a weekend retreat at a woodsy resort in the wilds of Minnesota. It was shortly after Samhain, known to non-pagans as Halloween, everybody's favorite spooky holiday. We had plans to do a ceremony, a ritual, in celebration of Samhain, and we chose a site next to a lovely little lake, or a large pond, really, on the resort property. It was such a beautiful site, surrounded by tall trees and undergrowth. It was the perfect spot for us. I went with my fellow Druid and friend Molly to scope out the site. And as we were there looking at the pond, Molly said, "This is a fairy pond. This is a portal to the realm of the good folk. We appear substanceless in the betweens, where day concedes to night. Now, Molly's been working with the good people for many years, and she generally knows what she's talking about. She said they're telling us if we want to use this particular spot, we need to leave them an offering of butter. Now, I felt like I needed to score some points with the good folk, so I went with Molly to leave our offering.
And soars with each crow, our dark arms caress and entrance.
After placing the butter in the appointed spot, Molly and I stood for some time just gazing at this lovely pond. It was a perfect time of day. The sun was just going down, and the last rays of the sun cast beautiful dancing gold sparkles on the still water. And as Molly and I stood there, two interesting things happened. First, we were visited by a raven who flew low over our heads, talking to us as he went. Now, I speak American Crow, not Raven, but I could not resist speaking to this magnificent bird, even though I had no idea what I was saying. When the raven had gone, I returned to my reverie, gazing at the dying sun's golden sparkles on the surface of the lake. And I had a vision. I saw those sun sparkles coalesce into the form of a beautiful woman, dressed resplendent in a golden gown, radiating the fierce heat of the sun. It was startling. I had no idea who she was. Presumably a woman of the She, of that portal to the realm of the good folk. But who? That was a mystery to me. In the weeks that followed, I dug in, researching every reliable folklore source that I could find, trying to identify this gleaming golden woman of the other realm, someone intimately associated with the sun. Finally, I found her. According to folklore, in and around the Loch Gur area of County Limerick, Ireland, resides a queen of the She. She is Queen Anya, and centuries of people in that area have known Anya as a sun goddess. I learned as much as I could about Anya and her stories, and when I felt ready, in druidic meditation, I went to Loch Gur, to that otherworld place, and I met Queen Anya. She was actually very nice, very receptive to my presence. And over time, I got to know her better. Anya plays many roles in the folklore of the Loch Gur area. One of the most often mentioned is her gifts of inspiration to poets, bards, and musicians. To those whom she deems worthy of her attention, she is a generous muse. Put the fire in every one Well, this felt right up my particular alley. So, to honor Anya's presence in my life, I wrote a song for her, Anya of the Gold Heart.
Anya of the Gold Heart, Sunfire Queen of Fae, fair and radiant Anya Clee, daughter of the Tuatha.
Unlike some of my original songs, which take weeks or months to conceive, shape, and bring to fruition, this song arrived in my brain fully intact, like a gift-wrapped package. And I was quite certain it came from Anya. But why? Why did Anya choose me to receive this musical gift? And why did I so readily accept it, knowing that it might imply some future obligation to the she? It wasn't long before I got the answer to those questions in a shockingly unexpected way. As one of my pandemic lockdown projects, I had been researching the genealogy of my family. When Anya became so prominent in my life, I decided to research my Irish ancestry. We knew that one generation of ancestors on my father's side had emigrated from Ireland to Scotland, and as far as we knew, there really wasn't much more to learn about our Irish roots. But with the advent of new apps, I was able to do a lot more digging than I had previously done. And what I found was very interesting indeed. It turned out we had many generations of ancestors on my dad's side in Ireland. So I began to follow that line, and with acceptable documentation, my Irish family tree grew back and back and back in time until I landed on my 21st great-grandfather. He was a well-known, colorful, historic figure known as Gerald Fitzmaurice Fitzgerald, the 3rd Earl of Desmond. Gerald Fitzgerald held a position of prominence and authority in County Limerick, particularly the Loch Gur area. Sound familiar? He was known in that area as Gearoid Iarla, and unlike many of the English-born lords of that time, he was well loved among the Irish people. He had adopted their Irish ways and even learned their language. Gearoid Iarla was a fascinating man. He was a poet. Some of his poems survive to this day. He was known as a bard and perhaps even a druid and magician. There is no historic record of the death of Gerald Fitzgerald in the 14th century. He disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and in the Loch Gur area, it is said, he was taken by the fairies. But here is the really stunning revelation about Gearoid Iarla, my 21st great-grandfather. In the rich and extensive folklore of the Loch Gur area, Gearoid Iarla is known as the son of Queen Anya of the Sidhe. And that means Queen Anya, my elusive, enchanting muse, is my 22nd great-grandmother.
Anya's many children roam the green hills. It is said she bore a fairy human race.
Well, knock me over with a chickadee feather. That explained everything for me. Why Anya chose me for her musical patronage, and why it felt so right to say, yes, we're family. One of my favorite stories in the folklore of Anya is her ability to shape-shift. She becomes the Lair Derg, the red mare, who roams the hills of her Irish home in Otherworld. She is said to be the horse that no one can outrun. I certainly could not. And that magical offer on a song I spoke of earlier? Well, that particular horse had burst full steam out of the starting gate, and my wild ride had just begun.
We watched the red mare stride her emerald hills and paint them gold, and the vital spark she lights never grows old.
Keep your ears and mind open, folks. You never know when some gloriously lovely, enchanted song from the fairies might need a new place to land.
Red mare of dawn, stride on. Red mare of dawn, stride on.